Good thing I got off the camera to unwrap this thing. With the amount of noise I was making, people probably think I was having very unusual sex. But yeah, here's the block, which is detachable from the 775. Yeah, it's also detachable, and yeah, interesting. So this is a classy kind of. I think it should be in the box. No, it isn't. Oh, yeah, there we go. Also in the box it says Intel or AMD, so basically winners and losers. No, I'm kidding. If you got an AMD, it's not that bad, but Intel's where the money should be at. Yeah. So this is the main block itself, and you guys can see has a rough finish, but it's actually maybe it's not rough because you can pretty much see the reflection of the camera in it, right? Yeah, and it still has a protective film over it. I haven't removed that. I will when the build is when I want to put it on. But yeah, as for now, it's a pretty nice looking thing. And good thing they did is since you know, when you want to install a water block, usually the thing is the hole to route your water loop in is different than the one going out. It's got to do with the structure and the housing of everything that's inside the water block and the way the water should flow inside. So the main one, the one you're supposed to route you basically put the flow through, usually is at the center. The other one is off center. This one, they are at the same, pretty much exactly the same distance, so it's difficult to tell, but they kindly carved in. So this is where the water goes in, and this is the port that the water comes out. It's very important to remember that if you get it wrong, your temperature, you're not going to get the best performance. Maybe even I don't know. It would explode. No, it wouldn't explode. But yeah. So that's your quick look at pretty much, yeah, the blocks. I got another block, as I will eventually be using 2 CPUs. So there it is. Storm, identical to this thing. Not gonna open it. Next up will be the MCP35X from SwiftDeck. You should just say this pump is pretty expensive, about $110 as the recording of this video, but it is pretty much unanimously everyone agrees that this is the best pump there is out there. So if you're serious, I mean, you don't have to buy this if you're on a budget, but this, if you're building something high-end and money is like no object to you, this is the recommended pump to get, period. Now, if you give me a second, I'll just unwrap it and unbox it. Alright guys, sorry if I'm doing that. I just ate a chocolate bar. I was really hungry. Yeah, sorry for the starving children in Africa. If you're watching this, which you're probably not. Yeah, actually my family's supporting one overseas and give money. So yeah, that doesn't matter. Off topic. Yeah, so MCP 35X from SwiftDeck. Here we go. You got your accessory pack, which I'll get to in a second. This is the main unit of the pump. What? $100 for that? Oh yeah, I paid much more. This is like the best there is, period. Now I own 2 of these, and I'm gonna make... No, I'm not gonna make anything out of them, but yeah. This is basically, the water goes in that way and comes out this way. The only problem I can see with this pump is the braiding, really. It's ugly, unbraided. Well, I said braiding, but there is no braiding. It's basically quite ugly. Cables. This is the 2-pin PWM control. So this is what you hook up to your motherboard to get a reading and control the pump speed. And this is the 4-pin Molex, which only has 2 pins, which is a 12-volt rail on the ground, just to get power for the pump. So you connect it to the Molex to get power and collect the PWM fan to monitor the spin rate. I think the RPM of this particular pump is about 4,400 RPM. Just one word of warning and advice: do not ever run your pump while there's no water getting to it, because even if it's for a brief, like 5 seconds, don't ever do it to test it. Make sure it always gets water. It's not designed to run on air. As a result, I left my pump running for a couple of seconds and without getting any water, and what happened was, well, more like a minute. What happened was it started to emit strange noise, and it's still there, so I had to reduce in my original system. So I've reduced the spin rate, or RPM, from 4,400 to 2,000, which doesn't make a noise anymore. The thing is, surprisingly, the temperatures are pretty much the same. But yeah, make sure you get that. Don't ever run this pump dry. You get 2 different barbs. Not too different, they're the same barbs. And you get hose clamps. I'm probably not going to use these anyway. I'm going to use compression fitting. Actually, no, I don't think I'm going to use compression fitting anyway, because this is going directly inside that res I just showed you guys earlier. Res is short for reservoir, if you don't know. Now, I'm just doing this with my mouth. Give me a second. Okay, so in this little pack, you get a couple of screws for mounting this fan. These are the only 2 screw holes you can see. One here, one there. This is to mount the fan to your chassis. And yeah, this is also a adhesive sort of tape. You can basically, if I turn the pump over, it goes like this, something like this, or maybe more like this. Yeah. So it kind of goes like this, and hold on. Yeah, there we go. I got it. Yeah. So you put this adhesive tape, which is double-sided, by the way. Take this side off, stick it in, and then you can stick this to your chassis, so you won't have to use the screws. But you be very careful. The adhesive thing on this thing is really strong, and yeah. But for extra security, you can use the adhesive tape and also the screws that are included to fasten it even further to your chassis. So those are your mounting options. You get a manual with this thing, and I'm not gonna open it. You know what manuals in had. Put the thing in the thing, and the other thing in the other thing. Yeah, that's about it. One more thing I want to say, which is kind of important, is again, as a general rule of thumb, whatever water cooling loop you're doing, make sure that the pump is always below your reservoir. So if, let's say, you got a reservoir on the bottom of the case, you have to mount it below that point. You are under the res, or not even level. It has to be under it, because that's when the water will get in. Because I've tried it before on accident, and it doesn't work. The res has to be above the pump at all times for the water to work and for the gravity to work, and put the water into the pump, and then you can start bleeding your loop. So always keep that in mind. So 2 things: never run it dry, and never put the pump anywhere height size in your case above the reservoir. So as you can see, even the res that I just unboxed a second, the pump places itself directly below where the water will be going. That will be below the reservoir. So keep that in mind. Okay, that's pretty much about all the technical stuff. There are a few cables and accessories, barbs, and biocide I have to go over. So I'll be again back in a second.